Blessed are you, and thank you for joining me on Healing Streams today. The title of our post is Learn to Give the Best to God. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 3 to 5, the writer says, "And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel and his offering, but he did not respect Cain and his offering. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell." Brothers and sisters, prior to this incident, Adam and Eve sinned in the Garden of Eden. According to Genesis chapter 3, sin affected life and death of every living creature. Sin and death reigned in every individual. It all started when Satan, otherwise known as the devil, or the great deceiver, disguised himself as a serpent, as Genesis chapter 3 verse 1 tells us. Pretended to come as a friend who cared for Adam and Eve, Genesis 3:2. Although he came to get the couple to rebel against God, he pretended to be very interested in their warfare, Genesis 3:3. The devil, the serpent, started with falsehood, but one that had a shred of truth, Genesis chapter 3 verse 4. He portrayed God as not being completely sincere, but Eve appeared not to grasp Satan's intention quickly, but allowed the conversation to linger, during which time she added one thing that God did not say, according to Genesis chapter 2, 16 to 17. In a sense, God gives a positive command: you can eat of all the trees of the garden. Then secondly, God gives a negative command of this specific tree: you shall not eat from this tree. Then thirdly, the tree that tested Adam and Eve was in the very middle in the garden from which they were not supposed to eat, and God was serious about that particular tree. That middle tree should not show no evidence, any difference from any other tree from their outer appearance. The only thing that made that difference is that God has set the very middle tree apart from all of the other trees. Certainly, we know that God owned all other trees in the garden, but then he owned that middle tree in a special sense. The purpose of the tree is to test Adam and Eve to see if they recognize the Lord as their only God and as their creator. But the devil deceived Eve. As a consequence, the Bible tells us that because they broke God's commandment, they were sentenced to die spiritually and physically. Brothers and sisters in the Lord, when we labor around in enemy territory, when we fondle sin and toy with things which are dangerous to our spiritual lives, particularly those things which appeal to our eyes, our passion, our flesh, and our desires, we are on the way to spiritual ruin. Just as sin came to the world through disobedience in eating the forbidden fruit, and with that came nakedness and alienation or separation from God, so will it be for everyone who does Satan's bidding and ignite God's instructions. One rebellious act changed the fate of the couple in the entire human race for the worse. Their cherished fellowship with God became a dreaded experience. Adam and Eve were now hiding from God. They were ashamed not only of their physical nakedness, but also their rebellion against God. All the leaves in Eden, Garden of Eden, could not cover their nakedness. All bring reconciliation. The consequences of sin are often catastrophic because it brings a barrier between God and humanity, and between humanity and all creation. Adam will not own up to his weakness, but blamed Eve and God, Genesis 3:12. And Eve blamed the serpent, Genesis 3:30. All our efforts at self-justification for our wrongdoings are lame excuses which cannot prevent the perfect judge from dispensing his impartial judgment. The serpent, Eve, Adam, and even the ground came under judgment. Genesis chapter 3, 14 to 19. And Romans chapter 8, 19 to 23 attest to this. In this stern judgment, one can still see mercy, fruitfulness from painful labor for both man on the land and woman for her offspring, and more gloriously, restoration of man's relationship with God, as the woman's offspring will crush the serpent head, a foreshadow of the coming of the Messiah. In looking at our misdeeds, good Lord showed mercy after the order of Cain. And so the story of Cain explains and demonstrates what happens to people who sin and then deny or justify their misbehavior. Jealous of his brother, Cain killed Abel, denied continuously that he was answerable for his attitudes and actions. While Abel brought the choicest offering, Cain did not. He personally thought anything was good enough for God, but a thoughtless offering devoid of our affliction and sense of deep gratitude is an abomination to God. We see how God still extended his love and mercy to Cain, as Genesis chapter 4 verse 6 to 7 informs us. God told him why his offering was not accepted and warned him against nursing evil and envy in his heart, not to be overcome by his emotion and temper. Cain did not heed God's warning. Why would Cain rise up against Abel his brother and kill him? Genesis chapter 4 verse 8. And note what his self-willed decision earned him in Genesis chapter 4, 10 to 12. Brothers and sisters, which of the following sins of Cain do you need and do I too need to deal with in my life and your life? Not giving your best to God, or still skewing and eschewing jealousy or disobedience and murder in your heart. Help us, Lord, to learn to give the best we can offer and to resist sin in every area of our lives. My brother, my sister, indeed, the Lord has endowed us with such a wonderful fresh year, a year of opportunity, a year that the Lord is looking forward to seeing us and Him with one accord to build His kingdom. Therefore, let you and I be generous and give our best to support God's work. Amen. And God bless you richly. Bye-bye.